Black again. That's fun. Take On Me. Oh, my voice. Take On Me. Wait a second. Take On Me. The final entry on the Chuunibyou anime. It's honestly just better than Season 2. It has a bunch of self-studio references and it keeps up the vibe of Season 1 with a bunch of interesting character interactions and characters you wouldn't expect to be interacting with each other, you know? It's quite entertaining and it's well worth the watch, even if Season 2 brought the bar down quite a bit. If you haven't watched Take On Me, here it is. Take On Me takes place in Rika and Yuta's third year of high school, the year after Season 2. It starts with Rika and Yuta getting home to find that all of Rika's stuff is being moved, and Toka shows up saying she's taking Rika to Italy. So the gang comes up with a genius plan for the two to elope. Genius. Toka does not take kindly to that and starts a manhunt, turning two of the bros agents against them. At some point, Yuta wants to talk to Rika's mum for some reason. That reason's obvious. And when they get there, Rika fucks off. Eventually, Rika runs into the gang. In Hokkaido. Was it in Hokkaido? I mean, they were there for... Yeah, they were in Hokkaido, right? Anyway. When they meet the gang, where Kumin insults her girlfriend to her face and gives Rika advice. And tickets. Where on the cruise, they accept that Rika is going to lose her Chuunibyou at some point, and Yuta is going to love her no matter what happens to her character, even though we know what happens to her character when she loses Chuunibyou. She keeps the witty self, but is not a loser. And then, it turns out, Toka wasn't moving Rika to Italy, because she's a grown-ass adult now, but instead was inviting her to her wedding. Why? I wish that was me. This all happened while Sparkling Daydream is playing in the background and Ishiki looks after the kittens from Season 2. And then I get sad that it's over. Oh yeah, Rika jumps in the ocean for some fucking reason. Yes, it's a metaphor. Get fucked. It's not even a difficult metaphor to understand, it's just spelled out. This season had to end things after the miserable situation of Season 2. And to do that, it had to do a couple things. Had to deal with a couple things. My apologies. These things happen to be the characterization of Chuunibyou, the arc of Rika and the characterization of her, and the treatment of the characters. Well, it's quite understanding why we had to deal with the arc of Rika. This is her story after all, it isn't anyone else's. And she really wasn't going off script, that's why I'm struggling. And it really wasn't dealt with in Season 2, as she was still childish enough to go after the dragon. But the characterization of her is a different matter. It's like, it wasn't difficult. It wasn't different. In Season 1, she was the person she was. In Season 2, she was just that person, but less so sometimes. And then the final episodes happened and she got worse. And then there's the treatment of the characters. It wasn't a big enough complaint for me to bring up in the last video, but it is a big enough complaint it's a big enough complaint for the movie to have focused on it. And because I'm a KyoAni simp, I understand a couple things. They couldn't just ignore Season 2. Ignoring Shishimiya wasn't an option, but sidelining her was the best option for her as a character. She has been incredibly destructive towards Rika's arc, and even if they didn't intend for that to be the way, they seemingly intended for that to be the way in this movie, having her be slapped out of it. All of these issues were dealt with comfortably and enjoyably, not hindering the movie in any way, but improving it, like I said, with the Shishimiya situation, and I'll go into more depth about that in a second. But first of all, we are going in more depth of the treatment of the characters. As I said, the treatment of the characters from from season 2 wasn't that big of a complaint for me to bring it up in the last video, but it is something they did tackle in this movie. Obviously, because it is dealing with the arc that season 2 abandoned, it needed to bring everyone back to their season 1 selves, or where they were in season 1. Obviously not where the characters were, because that is stupid. What the movie does is bring them back to themselves by bringing them back to the places they were. In the case of Dekamori, she is back to being a playful rich girl. Obviously, it changes what her fights with Nibatani are by changing them from the grudge-filled fighting of these edgy teenagers in season 2 to the fun, playful, flirty, which is played up a lot in this movie, fighting of season 1. Obviously, yeah, it's bad to... what's the word? I don't remember. It's a term where you play into a character's traits too much, that they lose all their character. This isn't that. These guys obviously have their character, but they're a side piece to this movie. They are side characters. They are there for comedic scenes. Obviously they have their moments. They aren't two-dimensional, but they're back. And also it brings back Deko from this mentally ill, deranged person to a playful rich girl who's bored with anything and everything, and she's found something. In season 1, it seemed like she didn't have a true friend. Rika was obviously that, but Rika was not ready. And in this, it's clear that her relationship with Nibatani probably is closer to that than Rika was in season 1, no offense to those guys. And then another one to bring up is Kumin. Sorry, I was calculating that. Kumin, obviously, best girl. She returned to her role as this authoritative senpai. Keep in mind, she is no longer in their school, so it was a great idea to remove it from the school entirely. This is during a holiday. If not, then they have really done bad. And she is there for a couple key scenes. Obviously, she hangs out with Shishimiya behind the scenes, but she returns to her role as the authoritative senpai. Because in season 2, she wasn't that, and it just reminds us that she's an important part of Rika's support group. Rika's support group, her homegrown support group, it was so important to her arc in season 1. It showed that she was growing even without shedding the Chuunibyou. But in season 2's fashion, they removed Kumin from that. And Kumin's so important. And guess who they replaced her with? Shishimiya. Shishimiya was flawed. It was flawed as that person. She didn't have that. And bringing Kumin back to that position and shutting down Shishimiya's schemes was so important for her character. God, I'm distracted. Where was my point going? Oh, shit. I'm only halfway through the paragraph and I'm 4 minutes in. Anyway, I haven't explained why this is important. Well, this is good. Because returning these two to their season 1 selves not only like brings it back to the arc that was not mentioned, it's bringing back important, like, it brings back the fucking vibe, all of that. But it also, writing-wise, obviously, Kumin's a very important part of the support group, and Deko is now normal. She's back to herself. It's great vibes, it's everything, and it's great writing. That's why it's so important. I don't know how to end this, because I'm gone so far off script that I'm lost. The characterization of Chuunibyou! The characterization of Chuunibyou! The characterization of Chuunibyou! The characterization of Chuunibyou, there's not much to say here. It's just like, they bring it back to it being cringe. Which was a fucking pivotal part of season 1. It's the whole premise of season 1, right? You don't understand. In the movie, they treat it as if it's cringe and not something to be yearned for or something that is cool like it was in season 2. Because in season 2, they do the beach scene. I mentioned this last episode, but the beach scene was everyone was clapping, they were cheering, they weren't, oh, this is cringe, let's ignore it. They were like, this is a public performance, let's be happy for them. Even if, let's take it from that point of view, they see it as a public performance, that still proves the point that it's something to be cool, because they're not treating it like it's a cringe performance. Not the people in the scene. That's fair enough. You can say, even if it's Japan, they see a public performance, they clap. But it's the way the writers dealt with it. The writers treat it as this cool public performance, when in reality they should be treating Chuunibyou as this cringe thing, right? And that's because that's what Chuunibyou is. And in the movie, they do that. In the Skytree, where no one let that shit fly, no one's happy, everyone is cringing, Deko's bodyguards are cringing, it's just mental. There's not much else to say here. I already stretched a 30-second segment into 2 minutes. The Black Flame Dragon. Sorry, I meant the characterization of Rika, not Rika's Chuunibyou. Was it Rika's Chuunibyou? No, that doesn't make sense. The characterization of Rika wasn't bad until the final episode of season 2. Or final episodes, I can't really remember, it's been a year. The movie I fucked up. The movie, it keeps in vibe of the season. I don't know what season I'm talking about, but it does keep in the line of the vibes. Also, it works better. Her characterization works better for what she's surrounded by in this season. It also matches her like desperation to keep her Chuunibyou because she is I got Russian. Because of what she thinks it means. And obviously her desperation to keep it because she doesn't know how she'll act outside of Chuunibyou. Obviously, we've seen what people act outside of Chuunibyou. Normally I point to Deko this way, but let's talk to Nibatani this time. Nibatani obviously has a bunch of quirks and things that she keeps because, well, she's a Chuuni. Well, she was a Chuuni. Obviously, she's weird. She keeps the feng shui. She accidentally falls back into Chuunibyou. Like a bunch of things that she's like, this isn't Chuunibyou. These are mature things, but they're still like things that could be considered Chuunibyou if they were younger. And obviously, we've seen her act outside of her Chuunibyou. In the first couple episodes of season 1, we're talking about Rika this time, she breaks character a lot, and she still is funny, but obviously her character she's trying to build up will never make sexual jokes, and she made 2. She's made like 3, 4, and 1 was while she wasn't a Chuuni. It was funny. She's like squirming and making a joke, like Mega Men. We're talking about her mother, that doesn't break her characterization either. We've had a year to grow, and obviously she probably immediately forgave her. Or not so. Like, probably immediately went back and started talking with her because she understands how that is. She is a person. She isn't just 2D. She didn't forgive her immediately, but she understood what she was doing is wrong probably immediately. But even if she didn't, she still had a year. It probably makes better sense than her if we were trying to do this arc in season 2, having no year, and then she has this level of trust in her mother. I'm not saying she'd have that level of trust immediately, I'm just saying it's a year. She might have started talking to her immediately, but she might not have had the trust. And it's important to her arc because having her mother was important because Yusa wasn't available, because what she's complaining about was about Yusa. She had Kumin as well, and that's great for her arc. She had 2 major pieces of advice in her life again. In this movie, her arc works better than it would have done in season 2, and the worst part is they were going this route in season 2. they were planning on scrapping her Chuunibyou, or like slowly getting rid of it, or starting the arc to get rid of it. And even though my next line says all because of the Black Flame Dragon, I believe the Black Flame Dragon could have been used well. Black Flame Dragon could have been used well in this arc, but they instead tried to double down on the Chuunibyou. And maybe they could have had this little moment between Shishimiya and Rika, where Shishimiya keeps her Chuunibyou, like tries to keep her Chuunibyou, and Rika's trying to go past that moment in her life. But that's too bad we didn't get it. They scrapped it for the Black Flame Dragon, and whatever happened. Normally, this is the line in my script where I get shot and die, but I scrapped that part of the video from video 1, and I don't want to get shot. And my brother took my gun. I forgot, this always happens. And I missed a line because there's a little end of this paragraph because I got shot and die apparently. But sadly it's important for this arc as so... But gladly, Kumin exists to shut down Shishimiya, to make sure that part of her arc, Rika's arc, is cut off, and the bad influence to be cut off too. I didn't read it. Anyway, obviously then she has a moment in Italy where she's like fully accepted her change, that she's gonna change, and that's alright with her. I know, like, let's be real, she was supposed to do this as a year 7, and she did it in her second year of 6th form. You guys don't understand that. Or second year of college. Keep in mind, that's 1 year younger than me. I'm 19. I'm not, yeah, whatever, fuck me. Yeah, she's still not changed, but she's going on that line, and I think that is a great arc. I don't think they should have shed her Chuunibyou, and they didn't. I think they should have went on the way like they did with the original Season 1, and that is great. It is a great spiritual successor to Season 1. It is beautiful. Let me finish this. So, this is it, huh? The end. The movie takes everything that Season 1 had and what Season 2 threw away to create something beautiful. And to end it, finally, end the story, as I just mentioned, it has the vibe of a Season 1 episode, and that's beautiful. It even ends in a similar vein to Season 1, willing to grow, and it doesn't do it. It doesn't grow, and that's beautiful. Well, she doesn't grow. We don't need to see it. That's the point. We know she's going to. Like in the end of Season 1, we know she's going to grow. But Season 2 said, nah, fuck all that. And in Season 3, or the movie instead, we got the answer. We got the ending, and it was beautiful. It felt like an episode, and that was amazing. The movie length didn't change the fact that it was a beautiful episode, basically. And that is great. I love Chuunibyou, man. And I think something I haven't been able to say over the past 3 videos, including this one, is that hating something for having bad writing is not good. I've liked a fuck ton of shows that don't have good writing. Let's be real. And I think that ruins people's perspective. If you like something and you can accept that it has bad writing, like me with Rent a Girlfriend, you'll be much happier. You don't need to listen to these people online that just keep putting your ears so something's bad so you can't like it. Fuck you. I love things with bad writing. Okay? Not all the time. There's a less of a fact to care when something has bad writing. Fuck. I went to read my script. I can't read it. I can't see, by the way. I'm blind. So... that didn't change a fucking thing. But yeah, it says on my script that I'm shit at outros, and that's true. But again, Tetris, I'm not going to play it this time. But I think the best way to end this is saying I do love Chuunibyou. Chuunibyou is my favourite show of all time. And despite my current obsession with Haruhi Suzumiya. I doubt that woman will change my mind. And if you think the gold ring is cringe, I've kind of missed having a ring on my finger. But anyway, as always, I will fuck off because that's not letting me play. Fuck's sake. Hit him with the blow. Hey, it worked! I'm gonna play some Tetris now. Actual Tetris. This isn't Tetris DX. Come on, let me play. But anyway, thank you guys for watching my series so far. I'm sorry that the editing style has gone so simplistic right now. It kind of helped. I had a couple ideas for how this was going to go, but, you know, it just didn't happen. But, you know, it does happen. The fact that this was recorded on the same day it's going to be uploaded.